Feeling forgotten by God? Here's what He's really doing in your life: folded hands. There's a silence that's louder than words. It's the silence of unanswered prayers. The quiet after the tears have dried. The space between God, "Are you there?" and "Nothing." You've asked. You've waited. And now, you wonder if God has walked away. But I want to tell you something today. Something most people never hear when they need it most. You are not forgotten. If you're in a silent season, if you feel like you've been pushed aside or buried, this message is for you. Because there's more happening right now than you can see. 1. God hides what He's healing. We live in a world obsessed with visibility, with being seen, liked, followed, noticed. So when life gets quiet, when you're unseen, it feels like failure. But God doesn't build His best work in public. He builds it in the hidden places. Think of a seed. Before it ever touches the light, it is buried. Covered in dirt. Alone, underground, surrounded by darkness. But in that darkness, life begins. God hides what He's healing. He protects what's precious while it's being made whole. That season where no one texts back, no one calls, and nothing seems to move? That may be the very place where God is forming the deepest roots of your purpose. 2. The purpose of silence. Silence isn't always punishment. Sometimes, silence is space. Space for God to reshape you, not just rescue you. We want instant deliverance. But God often gives us gradual development. Because He's more interested in who you're becoming than in what you're getting. Do you remember Moses? Before the Red Sea parted. Before the plagues and miracles. He spent 40 years in the desert, in silence, in obscurity, in training. God was preparing him, not ignoring him. Your wilderness is not wasted. It is preparation ground for something greater than you can carry right now. He's not punishing you. He's trusting you, with stillness. 3. When God feels distant. We all reach that moment, the one where your prayers feel empty. You pray, and the pain doesn't leave. You worship, and you still feel broken. And that's when the enemy whispers, "See? God's not listening. He doesn't care." But let me tell you the truth. God's silence is not the same as His absence. He's still near, even when you don't feel Him. And often, He's quietest when He's closest. Think of a teacher during a test. They don't speak, not because they're gone, but because you already have what you need. You're not being punished. You're being stretched. You're being refined, like golden fire. And though it hurts, it's not the end. It's the middle. 4. Why you're still waiting. Why hasn't it happened yet? That question echoes through our hearts. But have you ever thought that maybe what you're asking for is too small for what God wants to give you? Or that it's too early? And the version of you today isn't ready for the blessing God has tomorrow? God delays, not to punish, but to protect. He says no or not yet, not because you're forgotten, but because He's preparing a place for you. Some doors don't open because you're not supposed to walk through them. Some prayers aren't answered the way you asked, because He sees the whole picture, and you only see one frame. So if you're still waiting, it doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're being aligned. 5. What to do in the waiting. So what can you do while you wait? You worship. Even in silence. Even when the tears fall. Especially when it hurts. You stay close to His word, not because you always feel it, but because His promises don't depend on your emotions. You remind yourself daily. If God brought me this far, He's not leaving me now. Surround yourself with people of faith, not fear. Speak life over yourself when no one else will. And most of all, don't give up. The very fact that you're listening to this message is proof. God's still working in your life. You're not invisible. You're not abandoned. You're becoming. This season of silence won't last forever. But what God builds here, will. Because the strongest faith isn't built when everything makes sense. It's built when nothing does, and you choose to trust anyway. If this message touched you, speech balloon, leave a comment. God, I trust you, even in the silence. Raising hand, share this with someone who needs hope today. Television, and if you're new here, subscribe to Miracles Life with God for more encouragement, testimonies, and real spiritual strength. Remember, you are not forgotten. You are being formed. And the silence is sacred. Folded hands.